Hi, my name is Kim McQuitty and I'm the founder of Wife Ready. Welcome to this video. Today I want to share my heart with you that if a man is interested in you, he will stop at nothing to be with you. I am on a number of Facebook groups and I have my own private Wife Ready Facebook group as well, and I'll put the link in the description for those who would like to join. But I'm in a number of Facebook groups where women will ask questions about potential boyfriends or husbands or people that they're dating and their intent. And a lot of the questions are poised around whether this man is really into them or not. You know, they'll be hitting it off as well, hitting it off pretty good in the beginning. Things are going well, and all of a sudden the communication stops. It's like he goes ghost. They don't hear anything from me. He shouldn't hear anything from him. She's wondering what's going on. She's texting, no response. Calling, no pickup. Just wondering what is going on. So they'll come into these groups and they'll ask, what would you do? Just kind of really, actually just asking for advice. And I know that's what they're doing. But at the end of the day, what I've come to find out is when a man really, really, really is into you, the proof of desire is in the pursuit. What's for you is for you, and you will know if he wants you. You won't have to wonder. You won't have to try to guess. You don't have to try to read where he is. He will make his intentions known. The man that wants to be with you. Key word, the man that wants to be with you. Men, grown men, mature men, men who are serious about being in a committed relationship, for the most part, don't play games. There are a group of men, immature men, that may play some games, or some of them may be trying to get out of a relationship. They don't know how to get out of it, so they just go ghost. I remember I heard Steve Harvey say once before. He said men don't do closure, and I can see that. I can see, they may not have the right words to say, and some of them may be keeping from hurting, your feelings or all the things. It might not be anything negative. They just don't know how to land the plane, so they just don't say anything. But what I do know is that if a man really wants to be with you, he will stop at nothing to do it. When my husband and I were dating, we lived about 30, 40 minutes apart. And he worked probably 45 minutes from where I lived. And I had a midnight curfew. No men were able to be in the house after midnight. That was my mother's curfew. My mother stood by it, and we abided by it. So whenever Marvin would come over to visit me, he would visit me, and come 11:55 p.m., he was walking out of the door. Well, there were some times when he would work overtime, and he would work into the evening, into the afternoon, late afternoons, late evening, when he would get off at 11 o'clock p.m. My curfew was at midnight. Marvin would get in the car, drive to my house, to stand in the door and talk to me for 15 minutes after he worked a double, drove 45 minutes, and to honor the curfew of midnight, he would stand in the door for 15 minutes just to come see me. He didn't have to do that. He could have called me, could have talked on the phone, but he wanted to be in a relationship with me. He wanted to see me. He did what he had to do to get to see me within the confounds and the boundaries of what my mother requested or have established for us. When a man wants to be with you, he will stop at nothing to do that. You're not going to have to guess. You're not going to have to wonder. You will be his girl. He will give you a title. He will eventually ask you to marry him. He will put a ring on it, and he will take you to the altar. One of the things I like to say about when women are in relationships and they're wondering, okay, how come he hasn't married me? How come he hasn't asked me to get married? And there's so many things that can go into that scenario. I'm going to just unpack a couple of them right now. One of the things I want to say, when we're in relationships or women are in relationships for a long period of time and they're wondering why a man has not married them or has not asked them to be married, is because sometimes they don't want to be married. You're like, how do you know that? Because they don't want to be married. When men want to be married, they're going to get married. Men aren't complicated, y'all. They are not complicated. They know what they want. The ones that are mature enough to make the decision, and they go after what they want. There are men who have had conversations with women they have been in relationships for years, And when they're saying things like, you know what, marriage is just a piece of paper. Everybody in my family got divorced. I don't see the point in getting married. We can just live together. It's the same thing. That is not the same thing. They're telling you they're not wanting to get married. They're not wanting to commit. Now, it could be from some places of trauma. It could be from all kind of reasons. I can't unpack that. I don't have an exhaustive list of why men do that. But if he's telling you he don't want to get married, when he said that over and over and over and over, especially if you're living together, what in his mind, what's the point of getting married when you're living together? You've been living together 4, 5, 6 years, and you're believing that you're one step towards marriage, and he's believing that, you know, this is the closest I'm going to ever get. And then there's a group of men who will ask you to marry them, put a ring on your finger, and they still drag it out. Being engaged is not a status, it's a step. It's the steps towards getting married. No woman should be walking around with a ring on her finger for an untold amount of time because you're just in an engagement. That engagement is a bridge to get you to the altar to be married, not a status for you to walk around on. It's not a status, it's a step. Just to walk around untold amounts of time with a ring on your finger. I'm going to keep saying it. When a man wants to be with you, he will marry you. He will stop at nothing to be with you. And you deserve a man who knows what he wants, who goes after what he wants, who pursues what he wants, and he commits to who he wants to be committed to. Marriage is a beautiful relationship. Marriage is a beautiful relationship, and I don't know anybody who went into marriage believing that it was going to fail. I don't know anyone who walked down that aisle personally. I mean, it happens, but I don't know anyone. It's like, you know what? I know this is not going to work. Let's just see what this is all about. But marriages do fail. They fail all the time. It takes 2 people to say I do, and it takes 2 people to continue to say I do. But that's neither here nor there. My thing, I'm trying to get you to the I do, which is understanding that when a man wants to be with you, he will be with you. Men are hunters. When they find what they want, there's no longer the need for them to be in search for it. They found what they want. They found who they believe to be the good thing that God's been prepared for them, and they're going to make sure no other man gets her. So if you ever have to wonder, does he want me? Does he want to be in a relationship with me? Listen to what he's saying. You will know them by their fruit. What are the conversations? What is he saying when you guys are talking about marriage? Is this something he just totally ignores and changes the subject? That's something you need to be taking into consideration. Don't ignore that. Is he telling you, like I once said a few minutes ago, that, marriage, why would I do that? It's just a piece of paper, or, nobody's doing that anymore. Everybody's living together. He's telling you from his heart, if you give enough time to have conversations with him. Now, you're not going to find this out in about 2 or 3 weeks. I've known people who've gotten married in 30 days and regretted it. Of course, they got, when I got the call for the counseling, they were trying to get a divorce, but you can't know anybody in 30 days. People are putting their best foot forward in a dating relationship. Let me say this, and if the dating isn't good, the marriage won't be either. Your people are putting their best foot forward, and if they're not putting their best foot forward and pursuing you and trying to woo you, what are you in a relationship with them for? Why are you wasting your time? Why would you waste your time with someone who's not serious as you are? If your end goal is to be a wife, you don't have time to be in a relationship with a man who's not marriage-minded. And if you are in repeated relationships with men who aren't marriage-minded, that's something you have to look inside yourself to ask yourself, why do you keep allowing yourself to be in these repeated patterns of a man who isn't willing to be committed? That's a you question. That's a you inside. You have to look inside yourself to figure out what that is inside of you. But ladies, hear my heart. Hear my heart. You deserve a man who will love you like Christ loved the church. You deserve a man who will give himself for you. You love a man who loves God more than he loves you. Because when he loves God more than he loves you, there's a reverential fear of God that he's going to treat you right. He's going to respect you. He's going to honor you. He's going to want to be with you. He's going to take care of you. And there are men, contrary to popular belief, that are still out there with that heart. They may be far, few, and in between to find, but they do still exist. They do still exist. And you want a man who wants you. You don't want somebody to marry you just to shut you up. You don't want that. You don't want somebody who's not committed. And you know when somebody's not committed. Usually, if you go on asking a question in a Facebook group about a man, you pretty much know the answer, and you're just wanting the women in that group to rally around your decision and to confirm what you've been sensing in your heart. You want somebody who's going to be committed to you, who you can build a legacy with, who you can become one flesh with, who you can just do life with, who can be your companion, your best friend, your partner. That's what you want. That's what you deserve, and you can have that. And you pretty much know when a man does not want to be in that type of relationship. Let him go. Let him do his thing. Let him go and be who he is aspiring to be, but he don't have to bring you in tow into what he's trying to figure out about himself. When a man wants to be with you, he will stop at nothing to do that. I promise you. It's not hard. It's hard to find those kind of men, but once you found them, you'll know. He will be in hot pursuit of you, and you won't have a question. His life won't make sense without you in it. And he won't let you go. He won't let you go. And you're worth having a man like that. You're worth having a man like that. I just want to share my heart with you about that and to let you know that you are worth it. Don't fall into the lies of the enemy saying that you're not. You're not damaged goods. I don't care what your past looked like. God is faithful, that promised. He's forgiven you. Forgive yourself. And know that you can have a man who loves you as you are and wants you to be the highest expression of who God has called you to be. And the only thing that man will want to change about you is your last name. Wait for him. Wait for him. I'll see you guys later.